Hello, this is the Southwold Sailors Reading Room Photobook, which I'm handing in for PEP313. As you can see, there are 4 different colour options available. They're all the same book on the inside. I just like the idea of having it available in 3 colours so people can choose what they want. The design of the book is minimal on purpose. The reading room is the kind of place which doesn't call out for you to come in. You really have to seek and venture inside to uncover the treasures within. So I wanted to keep things as minimal as possible. And I also wanted it to look like an object of purpose rather than some kind of hardback, glossy, coffee table kind of volume. I wanted it to look like something that you could use. So it's actually inspired by an old notebook or an old exercise book or something like that, which is also where the kind of chalky colours came from too. Like I said, they're all the same on the inside. My personal favourite is the blue, so that's the one I will take you through today. On opening the book, you have this text, which I linked above. This explains the history of the room, or the context of the room, I should say, because this book is not an exact history. There's plenty of resources available either online or in print for that, and when I discussed with the members of the room the making of this project, their words were that they wanted me to capture the ghosts and echoes of the room, because they felt that's something that wasn't focused on as much. So with my love of still life photography and the beautiful array of objects that the room contains, that's kind of where this project was born. On this first page though, I've contrasted all of that peaceful atmospheric history with a view of the North Sea a day after Storm Eunice, because this really is the sea that I know. The North Sea is not it's not really a place of safety. It is a dangerous place, and the longshoremen of Southwold who used the reading room back in the day would have known that full well. So this is a quote from Reverend Imrie, who opened the room in 1864. He says, "Outside there is rock and storm, whirlpool and destruction. Inside quiet, peace and safety. Here is good food for both body and mind," which I thought was a good quote. And I've paired it with this image, which I nearly sacrificed a Mamiya RB for. This is a calmer view of Sol Bay, the region of the North Sea that Southwold looks out over, but still a melancholic one. And this grey tone is pretty much true to life, even though it's a black and white image. It doesn't look that dissimilar to if it was colour. This is the porch of the reading room, which looks out over the cliff and then the sea, which I felt was a nicer view than just the front of the building, which, like I said, is really nothing that spectacular. It's the process of going through the door that makes things exciting. And this is the view you're greeted with. This is one of the beautiful oak tables. Every day they still update the newspapers. And as you can see, there's all the ships in their glass cabinets and all of the old pictures on the wall, which tell the story of the town and of Suffolk's maritime history. Here is Southwold Cliff rising up here, the chimneys, and here's the sunlight on the water coming in. Again, in terms of design, this was quite deliberate. I wanted the images to have a lot of breathing space. So the book is about 10 by 8 inches. It's not a particularly small book, but the way the images are placed inside is quite deliberate. But that also means that the bigger prints like this one have a bit more impact to them. So I hope that nothing really gets lost. And here are some of the model ships. This is the schooner George, which a group of sailors from Southwold served on. And this is Tink's chair. This belonged to William Palmer, his favourite armchair, which now has a dedication to him. And here's a bit about the Southwold families, whose names appear regularly throughout the room, in the church, in the churchyard, all over the town really. This book and the room is really their history. And this again is a view of Sol Bay, which I wanted to include alongside the still life images to really set the scene of what this area of Suffolk is like. I mean, in the holiday season, it's sunny, it's packed, it's touristy, it's busy, it's vibrant, it's colourful. But yeah, in early spring, at dusk, that's what it looks like. So on the horizon here, that is the town of Southwold. Just here is the harbour, and somewhere around there is where the reading room sits. And again, this double page spread, I like to think at least, has much more impact because the images that sit around it aren't printed quite as large, so you come onto this page and you're really presented with what the Suffolk coast is like. So the running bowline knot, which so far everyone who's bought the book has told me looks like a noose. And they're completely right. I can't believe I didn't make that connection when I took the picture, but I definitely have now. And again, this is a view from inside the room. You can see this is the bittern here, which appears later in the book, and the rapid, which also appears. And just here, on this table, you can see the wicker basket full of board games, and that font, the abbreviation Southwold Sailors Reading Room, and that exact slant is what gave the front cover its wonky title. And here are the dominoes, which when printed in a book at this size are pretty much one-to-one life size, which I quite like. I have a pack of cards here, and on the right hand side this is the very important near sacred snooker scoreboard, and you can see just the layers upon layers of marks that have been made in games that have been played. Here is the bittern that you just saw. The real bittern was a 50-foot beach yawl, one of the fastest ever made. And I believe was the basis for the lifeboat as well, because it was so fast it could reach a casualty quickly. And the hull is specifically designed for the quite shallow North Sea. It has quite a good ghost story attached to it, which I will link below. I won't read that. But yeah, that's one of my favourite stories in the book, and it was one that the reading room were quite happy that I included. Here's the ship, along with 4 figureheads, which are quite a well-known attraction to the room locally. But actually not much is really known about them. Whoever these 4 figureheads were and what ship they belonged to is kind of forgotten knowledge. And here's Southwold Lighthouse shining its beacon. And on the left here, this is one of the old bulbs which sits in the room now. This particular exposure was about 3 minutes long with a telephoto lens just to get that glow. And here's the rapid, which again you've already seen This belonged to Benjamin Harrington, who was a quite formidable longshoreman and coxswain of the lifeboat. And this magazine extract, again recorded by James Maggs in 1859, talks about how Benjamin Harrington and John Craggy, who was another coxswain, were awarded medals for their feats of daring do. On the left, this is a pretty typical East Anglian sky, where all four seasons and the end times combined into one. And on the right here, these are fishing nets draped over a jetty at Blackshore Quay, which is about half a mile south of Southwold. It's on the River Blythe, and that's where the fishermen work from now. Because of coastal erosion, health and safety, and tourism, no one's launching 50-foot yawls directly off the beach into the sea anymore. So they work out of the harbour, and to actually go from the harbour up onto the cliff to the reading room is a bit of a walk. It's not something that many sailors really do anymore. So this image is kind of part of the reason why the reading room has kind of been lost over the generations of fishermen. And lastly, here is another view of the North Sea at dusk on a stormy day, and one of the ships basking in the sunlight in its glass cabinet. And then on this page, there's just a view of the lighthouse once again, and a few acknowledgements. So that is the Sailor's Reading Room book. It's been on sale online for about 5 days now, and a third of the copies have sold. It's sold 25 copies out of 75 available. One person bought all 3 colours to get the full set. My personal favourite, blue, is the most popular, followed by green. Orange is not quite getting the same amount of love, but yeah, and the reading room, who are the most important audience in a way, are happy with the work, and I'm really grateful to have been able to make it. I really believe in still life photography as a medium to uncover stories, and this was a really good excuse to spend about 30 to 40 hours all told in the reading room making those pictures, which was somewhere between paradise and madness, but I wouldn't change anything, and yeah, this is the book. Thank you very much for watching.